Hi there and welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life, and today I'm making 3 brand new crockpot recipes. All 3 of them are from this cookbook that I picked up at the library. Fix It and Forget It new cookbook, 250 new delicious slow cooker recipes. This is by Phyllis Good. You've probably seen her on some of these. I think there's probably like 20 different cookbooks like this. Fix It and Forget It, maybe even more. I don't know. So first off here, I have a 2.5 pound venison roast, and I'm going to get this cut into 1.5 inch cubes. You might notice that I have a little different camera angle. I actually have my camera set up on my tripod today. I'd love to know if you guys like this new angle, if you like some of the better close-up views that I usually give. This feels slightly vulnerable. You can see most of my kitchen here in this from this angle, and I am not decorator mom, I am in the kitchen mom, and so it feels a bit vulnerable just because you can see. I mean, this is how it is all the time. I always have dishes sitting out. I always have stuff sitting on my counters, and that is my real life, and I am sharing it all with you. So I just took a minute to get out all of the ingredients that I'm going to need for all 3 recipes. The only things that I actually had to buy was this broccoli and cheese soup, 1 can of sliced mushrooms, yuck, and 1 bag of lentils. Everything else I had. Oh, I also bought this sausage. So let me show you the 3 recipes I'm going to make. So first off, it's going to be this country lentil soup with sausage. It does call for sausage in the casings, a little bit of hot, and then the remainder of the pound would be sweet Italian sausage. They didn't really have anything that was considered hot Italian sausage last night at Walmart, and so I just got one pound of regular Italian sausage, and I'll just add some red pepper flakes to give it a little bit of that zip. The next recipe, it is a steak stroganoff, and oftentimes I make stroganoff with hamburger. I just tend to like it like that, but I saw this and it just kind of looked like something that my family would enjoy, and so I thought, let's give that one a try. I already had the venison, so, well, I mean, it calls for beef, of course, in here, but I pretty much use venison in just about everything. And then this one here, creamy chicken and gravy. I mean, of course, what could be any more just comforting than creamy chicken and gravy? So I'm just looking these over, and I see that the chicken and gravy has to be on low for 4 to 5 hours. The stroganoff has to be low for 6 to 7 hours. And I'm making all of these today. 1, because I just have it in me. Look at what I'm wearing. 3/4 length sleeves. It's a little bit chilly out this morning. It's probably going to get to be 80, but it's a little chilly, and I just want to get the crock pot going and working for me, at least all 3 of them. Okay, anyway, and the soup needs to go on low for 6 to 8. Well, I just know that the venison is going to take a little bit longer. I think it's going to definitely be on the 7-hour range to get nice and tender. And so I'm going to get started with that recipe first. At this point, I got out my 3 crock pots, and I'm going to use liners today. Peter is actually on dishes today, and I know he's going to be really happy if I use liners. Today's video is also sponsored by Cintas slow cooker liners. These are BPA free. They are just your typical size liners. They're good for crock pots from 3 to 8 quarts, and I mean, there's not a whole lot you can say about a crock pot liner other than it saves on the cleanup so much. It is so nice when you finish up that meal to just be able to grab the bag, put the whole thing in the trash, and I mean, you still have to wash out your liner because it gets some wash out the crock because it does get a little condensation, but it's just so nice to use crock pot liners. Everybody is always so thankful when I use these. And these crock pot liners come in at just over 50 cents a liner. That's a great price. These come in boxes of 15, 30, and 60. Are you peeking in the camera?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm so sweaty.
You're so sweaty right now?
Yeah.
Really?
That's so sweaty. Good morning.
All right, we're gonna get started with the stroganoff. So I need 2 tablespoons of flour in my crock pot here, and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. I need a half teaspoon of garlic salt and 1 teaspoon of paprika. I'm just gonna get this stirred up, and I'm gonna put these these venison chunks in here. And then I'm gonna stir them around so that they're coated in the flour mixture. All right, at this point, I'm gonna combine my onions, cream of mushroom soup, about a half a cup of water, and 1.5 tablespoons Worcestershire sauce. Always make sure that you shake your Worcestershire sauce before measuring it out to make sure that all the flavor has mixed in. I also need a half teaspoon of minced garlic, and then we're going to pour all of that over the meat. And you don't want to leave any behind.
Ew.
Make sure that that gets spread over top of every piece of meat in there.
Ew.
And I'm going to set this to low for 6 to 7 hours. And one thing that I like to do when I am working on crock pot meals is to put a sticky note next to the crock pot so I know when like the cooking time is done, or like in this case 10 minutes before the cooking time ends I need to add in the mushrooms and the sour cream. So I like to just put that time on here, because as the day gets going it's easy to forget what time everything got started, and I end up tending to forget. At this point, you might be able to hear the sizzle. I have the sausage browning right now for the lentil soup. And you might also notice that I have a different apron on. Cintas carries these waist aprons as well. And so I'm trying it out just to see if I like that. I actually feel like I should be a waitress and I need my little order pad and a couple pens and maybe some change over here. I kind of like it. I am still worried that I'm going to get splatters up top though. But if you are a cleaner cook than me, then maybe a waist apron would be your thing. I like that it's black. I always love a good black apron, you guys know that. And I also like the feel of this. It feels kind of like almost, I mean it's just fabric, but it feels a little waterproof. I browned the sausage, not all the way through, but enough so it has some little brown bits on it. I'm going to turn my heat down, add just a smidge of olive oil, and then saute up the onions and the celery all together. And that's going to help to loosen all of the good flavors stuck to the bottom of the pan. And all of that is going to get poured over the soup in just a couple of minutes. So while the other vegetables saute, I'm just going to get 4 carrots sliced. All right, so all of the onions and celery is going in right now. And next up, the carrots and the lentils. And 2 cups of diced tomatoes. It says with the juice. So hopefully we get enough tomatoes in there. There we go. 8 cups of water. 1 bay leaf. It says 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to go with just 1 teaspoon because I don't want it to be too salty. We can always add salt later when the soup, after all the flavors have combined. And, you know, I give it a test before we eat it. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then I don't want to forget to add in a few crushed red pepper flakes, since I was supposed to use like partially a hot Italian seasoning. That's a lot of seeds, but not a lot of flakes. Ooh, but it's already, my nose is feeling it. There we go. Let's get some actual flakes in there. All right, this soup has to go on low for 6 to 8 hours. So I will write the time down for 6. We'll check it, see if the carrots are soft, because that's probably, you know, that's going to be the deciding factor in this soup. And then at the end, I need to stir in a tablespoon of cider vinegar, but that is in the last half an hour. I was just figuring out at what time I would have to be checking my crock pot, and I remembered my new crock pot has the countdown timer. So, I mean, I still wrote it down, but it's nice to know that I have this countdown timer. The thing I have to remember, though, is that if I don't get back here right away at 4:30 to check on this, this is going to switch into a warm. It's going to switch down to warm rather than, excuse me, rather than staying at low. So yeah, so there's that. At this point, I'm going to get started on the creamy chicken and gravy. And so what I need to do is take the skin off of my chicken thighs. These are bone-in chicken thighs. The recipe says that you need 6. My package has 8. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just supposed to place each one into a 6-quart crock pot. Actually, it says 4-quart, but since I'm using my 4-quart for the stroganoff and I have 8 thighs instead of 6, I think that the 6-quart crock is going to be the best choice. And it's my only choice. It's my last available crock pot. I like to keep a damp washcloth on the counter so that I can just keep washing my hands. I mean, I know that I'm not getting them clean doing this. It's just kind of a way that I can get some of the immediate mess off my hands. All right, next up I need to put everything, I'm going to get everything in here, get that stirred up. So I'm going to start with my broccoli and cheese soup. Cream of chicken soup. Looks like I'm going to have to open a bottle of wine today. Let's see, I think this is just a twist off. Yeah, there we go. And I need a 1/2 cup. Was that a 1/2 cup? Probably not quite. There we go. A 1/2 cup of a white wine. I need a 1/2 teaspoon. Here I go. I could only use a measuring spoon for so long. Now we're just going to go with that much thyme. I'm going a little easy on the thyme. Thyme is not our favorite. It says a pinch. Of rosemary. And a 1/4 teaspoon of sage. I actually like sage quite a bit. But it says a 1/4 teaspoon, so maybe a little bit more. There we go. And I need a pinch of black pepper. We're going to go heavier on the black pepper. mushrooms. The stroganoff recipe called for mushrooms. And it says undrained. Ooh, I don't know if I can do that. I'm just going to put half a can of mushrooms in the chicken and a half in the stroganoff. I'm not a mushroom fan. Yeah. But we'll go with it. Warren and I were both at the grocery store last night, and when he's like, what are you getting these ingredients for? I said, oh, I'm going to make, 3 crock-pot recipes tomorrow. He was looking at them, and he's like, oh, they got mushrooms. Good. I was like, well, it looks like I'm putting the mushrooms in. And we're just going to get that poured over the top. We're going to get the cover on this, and it needs to go for 4 to 5 hours or until the chicken is tender but not dry. Now, chicken thighs don't tend to get too dry. It would take a lot for them to get dry, but I suppose it could happen. So I'm going to set my timer here, or I'm going to write my time down. It is just about 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock. This should be finished up, and we'll check it then. You might be wondering about why I'm making 3 meals all in one day. One, because honestly, it was just a lot easier for me to film today. Peter and Maria are gone to a church event during the day, so I just have Joe here with me, and then Joe goes tonight in for the church event, and so it's like Vacation Bible School. It's called Totus Tuus, Totally Yours. It's
Totus.
Yeah, Totus Tuus. And so anyway, it was just easy for me to film it like this. And then crock-pot meals, especially the soup, I can do lots of things. I can put that into containers and freeze it for a later date. Another nice thing is that when I have 3 crock-pot meals like this, all brand new recipes, is that everyone can take what they want. So like tonight, if someone wants soup, they can do the soup, or if someone would rather have the chicken or the stroganoff. And then tomorrow I can put them on warm. We can warm them up again for supper. Everybody can kind of have what they want. And then if there's leftovers, I can package those up, put those in the freezer, bring those out for, sometimes I'll put things in the freezer, like just a single meal, so that if there's a time when we don't quite have enough leftovers or something, I can just thaw a single quick meal. Anyway, it's just kind of, I kind of like cooking like this. I like making a whole bunch of things at one time. Sometimes we do this at deer season as well. Our cousin brings tater tot casserole, and I'll just pull out a couple freezer meals, and then I just make all of it, and then everyone can just take what they want. If they're into tater tot casserole, they take that. If they're into an Italian noodle sausage bake, they can take that. Really, whatever. It's just kind of nice to have that. And then it makes great leftovers. Is it actually a cooking video if there isn't something sweet being made? Here we go. I'm going to make something out of this cookbook again. Been kind of working through this cookbook a little by little here. So fruit burst cookies it is. I need a cup of softened butter, 1/4 cup of sugar, and a teaspoon of almond extract. I need to get that all whipped and creamy and fluffy. And then I'm going to add in 2 cups of flour with a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That's it. Super easy dough. And then watch what these are going to turn into. So were you guys counting how many cups of flour I put in here? I mean, this recipe should be so simple. 2 sticks of butter, a little bit of sugar, some almond extract, and 2 cups of flour and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Shouldn't that be so easy, and I should not make a mistake? I don't know without reviewing the footage if I made a mistake or not. I ended up, look at this, I got the eggs out. I ended up having to add an egg because the dough was not dough. It was just crumbs. There was no way, no matter how hard I squeezed it, it was not going to stick together into any kind of ball. I did add a pretty good size egg, and now I was able to squeeze it together. So I think I'm going to be able to make this work. Now, your guess is as good as mine if this is actually even going to turn out. I'm going to get some walnuts ground up very fine. right, these are tedious, which is not really my kind of favorite cookie. The dough is pretty dry, so when you roll it in the nuts, you almost have to like push it into the nuts, which takes a little time, that's for sure. So I decided to make a powdered sugar glaze. Just because these cookies just look like they needed it. I haven't even tasted a cookie yet to see. Just a smidge more milk. All right, I'm going for it here. It's kind of shortbready like. It's good. Tedious. Would I make them again? I'm not sure. All right, it's time to take a look at the chicken. It's the first I've actually had the lid off. And let's take a look at the chicken. Okay, gravy smells incredible. Just want to peek at the bottom side. And I think that I need to just use a thermometer and check, because I see it's got kind of a little reddish coloring, but sometimes that happens. So bone-in chicken like this, you want it to be 180. Okay, there's 180, there's 190, there's 200, almost. And 200. All right, I would say that it is plenty done. I'm going to turn this down to warm at this point and make some mashed potatoes, I think. And we will serve this over mashed potatoes. This smells so good. Okay, I'm going to let this piece of chicken cool and give that a try. Oh my gosh. That is so good. That thyme and the rosemary and the sage. Tastes, literally this tastes like Thanksgiving. All right, so that was actually 4.5 hours. The soup just went to warm, and I actually, off camera, I had just stirred it. So here we are, stirring it on camera. I'm going to take this bay leaf out. At this point, I'm supposed to put in a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. You guys, I tasted this, And it is so spicy. I think I put in plenty of red pepper flakes. Remember when I said I feel like more seeds are coming through the shaker than flakes? Well, I've always read that the seeds are a lot spicier than the actual pepper portion, like the flesh. And I think that's true because this is really spicy. But it is, the carrots are done all the way through. It smells so good. The flavor is good, but like I said, it's spicy. So I would maybe leave out the red pepper flakes next time, or put in just one shake instead of like 4 or 5 shakes like I did. I love the consistency of this soup. It's like literally just the right consistency where you get some brothiness, but you also have the chunks.
I vote for Adita, but we're gonna see if we can get enough people.
Mom's videoing now.
All right, I want a video here, guys. Yep, right. Shh. So we are doing the chicken, I can't remember, creamy country chicken or something like that is the recipe. It's basically just chicken with the gravy. Your plate looks delicious, Joe. I made mashed potatoes in the Instant Pot, so that's just 6 minutes. That's just 6 minutes in the Instant Pot with quartered potatoes, and then we just have some canned green beans. It's a nice looking plate. You're gonna give me a thumbs down? You haven't even tasted it yet. Make sure you get some mushrooms.
I love mushrooms.
Take every single one out of there, please.
You should try a mushroom.
I did. About a 1.5 years ago, and I didn't like it. I am just now stirring in the sour cream for the steak, venison steak stroganoff. And we're going to be serving this up with a little bit of parsley. I don't have fresh, but I do have some dried parsley, as well as some just little bacon bits. And this looks very, very flavorful. Just for Warren, I stirred in some mushrooms, wherever those are. I hope they're not too little that I can't pick them out. Rolling. I think it's customary to serve stroganoff over like buttered noodles, egg noodles, but we have mashed potatoes, and that's what we're doing. And Warren's like, no. He likes mashed potatoes anyway.
Yes, mashed potatoes all day. Let's save some for everybody else.
I just realized that this particular recipe called for serving this up with some bacon bits as well as some parsley, so I just topped mine with that, and we're going to give it a try. All right, we're at that part of the video here where I have to remind Warren to look into the lens and not the screen up above, okay? And we're also going to just kind of chit-chat about...
How's my hair? I didn't do anything with my hair. Does it look all right?
It's fine.
Haircut.
It's fine.
Just making sure.
And we're going to just kind of chit-chat about the 3 crock pot meals
Chat.
I had. We also have the peanut gallery over on the side here. I've had a lot of comments from you all that you enjoy this little part of the video, and I think for one of them I did not, like the last meals of the week video, I did not do this because I just needed to get the video out, and like
I was hard to track down.
You were hard to pin down, exactly. So anyway, so we had 3 recipes this week. We had the soup, we had the chicken, and we had the venison. Go for it.
Well, I think that my favorite was the chicken. That was delicious.
Question.
Okay, let's talk about the soup. Let's just do this in order. So the soup, I got a new nickname.
I called her Ebenezer. Well, the soup was good, but
Okay, the soup was edible in that all of the flavors were fine and they went together, but it was absolutely boring. Just boring.
Well, I said if you took out the meat and the carrots, it looked like the porridge that Ebenezer Scrooge made himself in A Christmas Carol. But so then in fun, I started calling her Ebenezer. She didn't like that.
every now and again. So yeah, that's been my week. Like I said, I mean, there was nothing bad about it.
No, it was
did,
good. The sausage was good. The carrots were good.
And actually, my favorite part were the lentils. I really liked that. I've never made a soup with lentils before, and I realized that I do like lentils. But the soup was just boring. Although it seems spicy at first, actually Peter took a little sip of the broth when I just like scooped out a little bit to cool, and he took a drink of the broth, and he was like, that's good. Whoa, that's hot.
It was good.
But once we ate it, it really wasn't that
hot.
spicy, and it was just boring. So I did put a little salt, a little extra salt, like a half a teaspoon, and some more Italian seasoning. So that like the second day that we ate it, it had a little bit more flavor, and I mean, it was fine, and we ate it, but I wouldn't make it again. I won't make it again.
Wait a second.
The chicken,
The chicken and mashed
delicious.
potatoes. Yeah, delicious.
I have not ever made a recipe. You're gonna have to get it a little further if you want your thumbs up in the camera. I've never made chicken in the crock pot where the recipe called for me taking the skin off of the chicken, and so I just had like no idea how that was gonna go, and it was so good.
It was very good.
I mean, the kids liked it.
Yeah, they seemed to eat it just fine.
I mean, actually, Peter was the one that liked it the least. Maria liked the chicken, even when Peter was like, I'm not really sure if I like this. Maria's like, what? It's so good. Joe, of course, ate it because it was meat, and I thought it was good. I would 100% make that recipe again. And then the venison, I would 100% make this again too.
Very good.
100%.
Again, we had it over mashed potatoes. I love mashed potatoes.
Talk.
You said it should be over noodles.
I would rather have it over like a big, thick, wide egg noodle, or an Amish, or like one of those thick Amish noodles, like that type of a thing. That's what I would rather have, but over mashed potatoes was delicious.
It was very good.
Joe gobbled it up.
Yeah.
She picked the mushrooms out, but that's all right.
I ate one accidentally.
You'll be all right. So funny, Joe.
And then you rolled your eyes a little bit at me when I said...
When did I roll my eyes? I didn't roll my eyes.
You kind of guffawed a little bit when I said I ate a mushroom. And I was like, I know. Yeah, I mean...
If that's the worst thing that happens all day, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, my life is pretty cakey, isn't it? If that's the worst thing that happens all day. All right, well, that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And check the description box below because there will be a link for Cintas crockpot liners. They are such a saver. There's tons of them out there. Cintas is a great price point, like 50 cents a liner, something like that. So it's a great price point. Check that out. And then as well, they have these little waist aprons. Still trying it out. I already got chocolate all over my shirt today when I was making cupcakes. So I'm still more of a full front apron. But anyway, they have these aprons as well there if you're kind of into that. Like if you need to run a carnival stand or something, these would be perfect. Perfect for running a carnival stand. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Have a night.
Love you.
See ya.